The last few days I've been on digging duty, digging out blocks, transporting them with this to get this gradually going up to where I can drive a bulldozer out to my pile of rocks and back in. This part is brand new. It's always a little squishy when it's new. After a few days it gets much more solid, like all this ground here is very solid. So I've got my ramp up to this drawbridge done. And then this little middle cube of ground I've got built up enough that it's even with this drawbridge and that one. And I need to make the boards for this drawbridge. And I need to finish raising up this area so it's up to the level of here and then up to the level of that wall. Because that's going to be where the doorway entrance is. The rest of the wall is going to go higher, but I'm going to have a doorway here. And the ground level inside the courtyard of the castle area is going to be at this level up here. So this will just have a ramp going up to the ground level. You know, so if any zombies bust through the front gate, they'll be below and we can smack them at their head level. Important to take these things into consideration. Okay, once this is all built up to this level, then I need to build this ground up to this level and flatten out all this area. You know, basically get all the ground up to here so I can drive this thing around. And then I also want to, well, the ground level will be here, right? The final ground level will be here, but the clay level will be here, and then this will all be topsoil. But before that's done, I want to be able to drive the bulldozer into here because this is where I'm doing a lot of the concrete work right now. So I'll get the dirt up to here, and then I'll make a ramp. So I can drive into the castle, drive my bulldozer right up into here so that I can go get rocks and sand in my bulldozer and then drive it right up to where I need to build. When I have all that done, then it's super go time. But I think it's worth taking the time to get all that set up because it's going to make the concrete go a lot faster. So maybe another week to get all that done. Besides just the fact that it takes longer to carry everything by hand, I'm just eating all the food in the house. So the bulldozer is really like a huge food saving device more than anything else. If we're growing more food, it won't be such a big deal. But right now we're buying most of our food. So, you know, I don't want to go broke feeding a Jaimie. All this ground up here, which is still a significant portion of the island, is above where I want the clay ground level to be. The clay ground level should be here, and that would be like about there. So all this has to get pushed down into this area and that area down there to lift up that and lower this. So I'm gonna have to get my bulldozer up there, and I'm hoping that I can just like scrape off like ½ an inch on the top and just dump it over, and then back up and then scrape off a little more, and then just keep going back and forth and scraping and scraping and scraping and bring this down and just fill in all the areas that I need to bring up. Now to control the scrapage, like the scrapage depth and stuff, I don't feel like I need to worry too much about the raising and the lowering of this. I'll just prop some things under here to get the bucket at the, you know, the height I want. And then what I really want to do is get this part, you know, get something attached to this going back there with a lever where I can go like that, and then that can kind of adjust up and down as I'm going through the dirt. So if I need to go, if I'm getting too deep, I can back up a second, tilt it up, then make a new line. And if I'm not getting deep enough, I can back up a little bit and try to get it down more. The difficult part about making this, yeah, I basically want to have a stick coming back to here where there's a lever. Well, the stick will come like pretty close to the pivot point there, so there'll be a lot of leverage. So this will be a long lever, and this will be attached way down at the bottom. So I'll have to pull those really far to get this to tip. But then I'll be able to do it by hand. Anyway, the tricky part about that is that I stole the batteries from my workshop and put them in the dozer. So I currently have no power in the workshop. So I'm gonna have to drive this over close to the workshop, run some wires from this into the workshop so I can use the drilly thingies to make the parts that I need to make the thing. Well, there's my morning assessment. What do I go on first here? I guess building this up is the most time dependent thing, because when I dig these blocks out, they're kind of soft, and I don't walk on them for a few days, so I'm definitely not going to drive on them with a heavy bulldozer. But after a few days, they kind of dry out a little and get really solid. So I guess I should build this up and let that sit there while I do the other things. All right, let's do it. Oh, great, my front wheel's got a rock in it. There we go, moving. Hey, lift with the knees. I can fit 4 of these on there and still move the cart. I do find sometimes that my back gets tight doing these. So, between thingies, I'll do a spinalator dance. Just to loosen things up. Alright, I've been digging all day. It's about 4 o'clock. I'm getting pretty close to done. I'm just gonna go till it's done, regardless of what time it is. Alright, I think I've got it. This is built up higher than it needs to be. That's clearly higher than it needs to be. It'll be able to settle a little bit. And this is higher than it needs to be. Ah, excellent. Now I just need to let the thing dry out in the sun. It can compact a little bit, and I can drive through. I can start working on this side.